welcome to the house. A lot of you guys have seen the inside of the shack before. Haven't seen a whole lot of the house. This is part of my yard right here. This is probably the best maintained portion of the yard is right through here. But that's just a fraction of what I have to contend with in keeping up a yard. And so this summer, after seeing all the commercials on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere about these robot lawnmowers, and my experience with lasers and some of the other robots on the market, I decided, you know what, if it will just help me keep my yard under control with less effort, I'll take that. I'll take it. So I ordered myself a robot to help with this, and let's talk about it. All right, guys, so give you a little more idea of how big and diverse of a area that I have here. This is the bulk of what I maintain with a lawnmower. I've got a little bit more down here toward the road. And of course, there's a little strip along the edge of the road that I maintain as well. But for the most part, this is the area that I generally maintain using the riding lawnmower. Now, here in Alabama, the terrain is not ideal, and that kind of had me kind of hindering choosing which machine to get. I didn't really want the RTK because you can see I live in a wooded area. Not to mention, I don't really want to have to climb up on the house and mount the antenna. So I wound up going with the Ecovacs GOAT A3000. And the reason is it uses LiDAR. Yep, it uses lasers to map out the area. And you can see the goats going around the edge of the house there now. It's finishing up on cutting basically this whole entire area. Now, I've been doing it in steps and phases, trying to get all of the areas tested with the machine to make sure that it's going to be able to do them. So several of the areas I have cut multiple times with it. The one thing that I will say is it has surprised me how well it works with the gravel and stuff like that. So the gravel, as you can see, this is, generally speaking, this is all over my property is sand and this gravel here. And another thing is here, I have Bahia grass, which is this little grass right here. And if any of you guys have this in your yard, you know that one good rain and this stuff pops up and can get really tall. One of the downsides to this machine so far is that it will actually see these and trigger the obstacle avoidance. So I expect to see some type of a firmware patch maybe to where you can, if you have this type of grass, maybe you could allow it, you know, for objects of a certain thickness or whatever to, you know, just avoid those or not dodge those, because it will dodge this if you're not careful. But all in all, so far I've been really pleased with the way that it works. And I kind of want to walk you through the story of me and my lawn care robot. So let's go check it out. All right, so here it is in the back of the buggy. I did use the buggy to bring it back to the house. The package was around 55 pounds, so it's not light, but it's not terribly heavy. Just nursing my back a little bit. So you've got the three main components to the machine. It's going to be the base. That's the back of the base there. You've got the machine itself, the robot itself, and then you've got the floor of the charging station. Those are really the only three major components that are in the package. Other than that, you're going to have the little box there. That's going to have some miscellaneous little parts and, you know, manuals and all that kind of stuff in there, but nothing too major. These pieces here for the base literally just snap together, and we're not going to go through that. The instructions were very well written on that. There's your stakes to stake down the charging station and the plug. That's pretty much it. That one little bag there with some extra screws and blades in it. So once you do that, just open the book and scan the QR code, because the phone's going to tell you everything else you need to know. So once you get the app downloaded, guys, you're going to have a bunch of permissions that you're going to have to approve to be able to get this set up. The app's fairly simple. Now, I will say this. You can tell that they reinvented this app from the vacuums. Some of the language inside there in the app, once you get it to working, it actually refers to cleaning instead of cutting or mowing or whatever the case may be. Yes, do you really have no choice as to whether or not you accept these terms or conditions? But I do advise you to read them. Don't do as I do because I don't have time to read all that. But yeah, we're going to agree through those permissions and allow notifications. Here, you're going to have to create an email address and basically a login account. You're going to want to do this to be able to like keep up with your machines and save your maps and all that stuff. But you can opt out of their advertisements, which is what I did. And just use whatever email address that you prefer to use. And I'm not going to show you guys my password, but we're going to fast forward through just setting this up. It's very basic. You can't really mess this part up as long as you follow the instructions that are in the book and just, follow the app. You can see right there where this app basically controls all of their stuff that are made for inside the house. So that's why some of the language and stuff is still, even for the lawnmower controls, it still says clean and stuff like that. You will have to put a PIN code on your machine. It's fairly simplistic. Just read the little directions right there, and then once you've entered that PIN code twice, it's gonna let you know that you can move on through the procedure. But you do want to do that because this is part of the anti-theft. Basically, if somebody steals it, they can't use it. Like if you power this thing down, you can't use it. It also puts a PIN number on the video feed if you try to access the video. So that's a good thing. I mean, that way nobody can remotely access it if they don't have that hard PIN that's actually put into the machine. So, all right. So a few more permissions and everything, and we're eventually going to get this thing connected to the phone. That's going to be pretty much all of the other setup and configuration. The directions are in there. The configuration is done using the phone. I did check. The app does work on an iPad, but the resolution is not really optimized for an iPad, so it's going to basically look like your screen looks now on the screen of your iPad. So a phone works better. If you need it to be a little bigger, you could use an iPad. I did use the iPhone, I think it's the 13 that I have, to set this up. So if you have questions about that, I haven't tried it with Android. But yeah, so there we go, getting into the machine now. All right, so one of the only parts of assembly, guys, is this right here. You snap those two parts of the base together, plug up the power pack, and then plug it into the wall. And it comes with these 4, or I think it's 6 little anchors. They look like really big lag bolts. You just drive those guys into the ground. If you're near any of your utilities, make sure you don't drill through anything. But yeah, just drop those in there with an impact and boom, we're done. All right, luckily it came already charged. So really the only thing you had to do is kind of train it where its house was by putting it in front of the docking station and letting it, just kind of go in there and mark it. And so now I have started the mapping process, which basically you control it manually and just draw a line around the area that you want to cut and go from there. So here's kind of the map that I'm using currently, and it's very elaborate. All right, so as you can see, it's kind of clumsy, I guess you could say, but I did find that it was very effective because the way I've got mine set up, when it comes back, basically the machine knows to try to get as close to the walls and stuff as it can without running over them, and that's in the settings. And this is before I did my weed eating and stuff, and this is rough. There is one thing that I do want to caution you guys about if you live in the South or anywhere that it's really, really hot. During the making of this video, I did have some problems with both the iPhone as well as the robot, both overheating, and it was a bit surprising. So what I ended up doing, of course, I went to the freezer, got myself an ice pack, took the OtterBox off of my iPhone, and was able to continue. Well, this worked pretty well for the phone. The phone did not have any problems after this of overheating because it's sitting on an ice pack. But, I was careful not to drop it and all that good stuff. Right here, I did find that it can cross this gravel here, but after a few trips, I kind of decided to go back and take that out of it instead of no-go zone. But yeah, so after a few minutes of using my iced iPhone, I had an issue that pretty much stopped me right in my tracks. Yep, that's it right there. So this is the alarm that goes off, and it's happened a couple of times to me. So if you're going to use this in Alabama, you may want to set it not to work during the heat of the day because it's happened 3 times so far on 3 different days. So the moral of the story is sometimes it's just too hot in Alabama for certain things, I guess. But all in all, the robot's doing a really good job. And other than the heat issue the Bahia grass being a little, more than the sensors can handle. Like it keeps faulting out. Like you see right there to the left, their little stem of Bahia, of course. That stuff is enough to trigger the obstacle avoidance. So I think maybe there's a sensitivity setting that we could, maybe we could add that to the app. But all in all, it is doing me a great job. And, the purpose was to try to get something to help me with the yard work and make it easier. And I think we're onto something with this. It really does seem to be a big help. And you can see this is it going back home by itself, and it slides right up in there and goes to charging. So as far as a place to home my machine, there was a couple of things I took into consideration when picking this location. One, it's out of the way. It's an area that I already have to weed eat anyway because you can't really get back in there with anything. It's close to the house. Of course, there was an outlet right above it, and how fortunate was that? We've never, in 20 years of living here, since we built that house, I don't think we've ever used that plug for anything other than maybe a fan for a little while. But now I have changed out, put a different cover on there so I can leave that plugged in. And I've got the GOAT sitting right there, plugged up, ready to go. Secondly, this is on the north side of the house. As you can see, for the most part, the sun will never be directly beating down on the lawnmower. He'll always be kind of sitting there in the shade. Also, we have gutters, and the overhang comes down to about right here on this guy. So it's literally, the rain sensor is barely out from under the gutter. So if it does rain, the rain sensor will get some rain on it to be able to detect it. But for the most part, the rest of the charger and everything is under the eave of the house. So hopefully it won't get too wet. So I felt like that was a good location for it. So far, it hasn't had any problems going back and docking. I do have this driveway laid out, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how I've got the driveway and the mapping worked out, because there are some things that you need to know when setting this up to be sure that you don't pull your hair out with the machine, because you've got to prepare for your grass to be cut with something like this if you're used to using lawnmowers. Not all of my yard is pristine and has grass on it and everything. I got a lot of areas that are this sandy, gravelly makeup. And so what's happening here is I've even got the robot program to be able to go across those areas and mow. And so far it's doing a really good job. The thicker gravel, you don't want to go there. It will get stuck. But yeah, this yard, like I said, was not ideal for using a robot like this, but I found that it's doing a really good job so far. I think I've got 12 total hours of cut time on it. We'll go over some more of that in the video later on, but I just want to show you guys what we got going on here with how it's adapting to life here in the country, where not everything is pristine and well edged. These shade trees, I tell you what, they are really nice when you've been out in this sun. Being this close to the equator, this sun is a pain, guys. It's a pain. But as you can see with the yard, I've got a lot of obstacles. Trees drop pine cones, they drop sticks, they drop all these things. So there's a lot of prep work goes into and has went into me being able to use this little robot. So let me show you some of the things that I've had to do or I've went ahead and done because I knew these were going to be issues. So you're probably going to want to do the same thing at your place if you're thinking about getting one of these guys. And it's a lot of work. So right along this driveway right here, I literally got where the grass is solid. And that's where I set my boundary for this little robot because I didn't want it getting over in the sandy area where all the gravel. This is packed down really well. It's not very deep gravel. So it probably would have done okay, but I didn't want that problem. Now, as far as down by the road, I've left it to where the robot does not get within, I'm going to say 8 feet of the road, just in case it's a little off that day. I don't want it running out in front of a car. That would be terrible. Now, I will say some of these places like this in my yard, so far it has done a good job of navigating this little bare area with all this gravel. And yes, guys, I live in an ancient gravel pit / sandbar. This whole hill, this whole property is nothing but sand and gravel until you get probably about 8 feet down. You run into a little bit of a clay mix. So there's lots of gravel here. Now, this area here, I knew that if it got down in that, it was going to be game over for it. So what I've done is I've left about enough of a path around the edge of the yard right here so that I can get my zero turn and I can get up next to the bushes with it. So in other words, the robot's not going to cut all of the grass, but it's going to get the bulk of it. Like it's getting all of this stuff out through here. I'm just having to trim around the edges. Now, there are other places too that you're going to want to pay attention to. So if you have any spots like this, as of course, this guy right here around this crepe myrtle, you can see I've got some pine straw mulched up right there around it. Well, you don't want to spread that stuff out and you don't want the blades digging into it and all that. So I set that as a no-go, and I'll show you my map on that. I've also got a no-go set for this one because you can see it's got that little pile of debris and pine straw around it right there. So I didn't want to get hung up in that. Stuff such as this doesn't require a no-go zone because the little robot can get all the way up to the edge of it and it's not going to hurt anything. So I didn't set a no-go or anything for that pole there. It's just simply, it marked it on the map, but it can go all the way up to it. This tree here, so far I haven't set a no-go zone on it, but it's doing a really good job of getting up close to it and trimming all the way around and not getting stuck. You can see it every now and then where it spins around. It leaves a little bit of a track, but not bad. I was really concerned about things like these roots right here. You can see where my traditional lawnmower has hit those over the years, but this little guy is scooting right over the top of them. Haven't had any problems with that so far. I'm running the depth of cut at probably about 3 inches, so that's probably helping. But everything else, it does really good out here. Like I said, the bahia, those little stems, and I've been trying to look for one, because if you don't knock those off with your regular lawnmower, it will avoid them when it sees those little bahia stems sticking up. So this cedar tree, I recently raised the limbs up on it, but the needles on the cedar tree are keeping the grass killed out around it. So I've got to do some work here with either some sod or I've got to do something, because until then, this area on the side of the slope right here, I've got it set as outside of the boundary area, because you can see up there where around the porch is at, it mows up there, but when you get down to here, the side of this hill through here, right now I don't have it doing that. That's a manual mow only area. One, the slope's kind of steep, and then two, I've got a little bit of dirt erosion issues going on here that I got to get fixed, because I know it will fail on that. I don't want to set the little guy up for failure. And I've got the same thing going on on these other two cedar trees over there. Now, down here, this under the power line here, it's been doing a really good job. You can see, I think you can see, I can see the stripes down through there. I've got it going to just to the base of that big heel over there. I plan to try to set that heel over there up to mow, but I haven't done it yet. I do have, and you can see part of the area here down the other side of those trees toward the road. About half of that area toward the road I've got set up to mow, and it's done a good job. I'm gonna try that heel over there. Just haven't done it yet. I've got some ruts and stuff that I've been fixing. You can see right here, I had to go and fix a couple of holes because I'm trying to get all my little holes patched up. I put some sand in that one. Luckily, I got plenty of sand too. Did I mention that? And I kind of patched that one. So if you have those little holes like that, because I'm planning on trying to add this little section of grass here into the map and just draw myself some no-goes around those cedars. We'll let you know how that works out. But check it out. Check out those stripes. It's doing a really good job so far. So let's go get it in the shop and do a little analyzation, and I'm gonna show you some of the stuff about the app and everything. All right, guys, so far the app's very basic, very simple, but the divide map, the map editing functions are just broken. All right, you can map, you can do a no-go zone. I'm having, no problems with that. But if you want to try to divide, like see how my map, I wanted to divide it so I can assign different days to different sections. It won't let you divide it. And when you create another piece for a map, it automatically joins it. So, but then it won't let you divide it. So I've reached out to Ecovacs, and we're going to see if maybe that's something that they're fixing to approach in an update. But right now, this is really annoying me, and I haven't found a safe workaround to break this map up so that I can do it in sections. It's really frustrating, especially if you have a, start over on the entire area. So in closing, just kind of walk you around here and show you. You can see the lines and everything that's in the yard. The robot's doing a decent job. I would say a good job considering the environment that I've got it operating in. I'm sure when they built this thing, they weren't anticipating me putting it through this little torture test. But the two big hangups right now that I want to make sure everybody's aware of, because guys, I watched every video I could find on this machine. Nobody warned me that it was gonna get hot and cut off. And there were some folks said that the app wasn't great, but it just, like I said, mapping, you can map, you can make an area, but if you have a big area like I do and you want to divide it, that's where the problem comes in. But all in all, there's the robots back there. You can see him doing his thing. If I can get myself to where you can see him. All in all, do I regret the purchase? No. It's gonna work for me. I do hope that they patch the app, and I'm gonna put the mic over here where you can hear what. So to me, that's a benefit. Like, this thing can cut the grass and nobody inside the house will even know that he's out here cutting. So, and look at this. Like I said, I am overkilling with the yard maintenance this week. So the two big things that I'd like to see Ecovacs fix would be, one, of course, the overheat issue. It's probably not a problem in the other parts of the world, but if you're in the southeast United States near where I am, or if you're in some of these really hot places, it's going to be an issue. Currently, the workaround that I've used, it has this setting to where you can set it to avoid animals at night. I basically set that for the heat of the day. That way it goes and parks between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock, which is when the sun's directly overhead, and then it resumes after 2 o'clock. That's not what they intended that setting for, but it works. And that's what I've got it doing. So the big hang up now, if they'll just fix the app and get the maps to where I can address slicing the map into different pieces, I would be 100% happy with it. Like I said, so there you go. I hope this helps, guys. This is a little bit different kind of content than what I'm used to doing with the lasers and everything. But you know, this is stuff that is for us, especially out here in the country. This is something that we didn't know. I didn't know if it would work or not, because all the folks that I saw testing these things lived in these nice neighborhoods where they had like zoysia or these nice grasses that was well manicured. Not out here in the country where I live. The one thing that I do like about the obstacle avoidance is not so much for animals and stuff, but for limbs and pine cones and stuff like that. So far, it seems to be the way to go out here. So there you go, guys. I'm gonna sit out here and watch this little guy run a little more. But if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And also, if you have similar experiences with robots, or if you have one that you use that you know you think could do this, drop a comment. Let me know. Like I said, I do like the technology, and I'm not against trying out other machines. Like I said, I did buy this one, my own money. This is my $3,000 riding around in the yard here. So it wasn't a gift to review type situation, but you know, who knows, maybe in the future. But until next time, guys, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, follow, like, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.